What's up, guys? I'm Josh Mosiman. Welcome to This Week in MXA, episode number 121, presented by O'Neill Racing. Thank you guys for tuning in to this episode. We are gonna preview the upcoming East Rutherford Supercross and review the previous Atlanta Supercross at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Exciting stuff there. We're also gonna give you guys an eye into what the MXA Wrecking Crew has been up to lately. But looking back at Atlanta Supercross is exciting battles in the 450 class. Everyone was on the edge of their seat waiting for that Tomac Cooper Webb battle, and it never turned into a head-to-head battle or maybe a bar-to-bar battle, but it was a nail-biter for the entire race, watching them yo-yo back and forth. Cooper would pull a little bit, then Eli would catch a little bit. I thought that Eli was gonna have the pace to get around Cooper Webb, especially at the beginning of the race. He caught up to him quickly, but Eli stayed behind him, and Cooper was able to edge out the points leader for 4th place on the race. Crazy that they battled so hard and they didn't even get on the podium. So double thumbs up to Chase Sexton, Ken Roczen, and Justin Barcia. Chase got his first wire-to-wire win since San Diego Supercross when he won his first ever 450 Supercross main event. So Chase got the whole shot, led from start to finish. Impressive stuff for him. Great comeback for him after multiple tough races. Also great comeback for Justin Barcia. Man, this guy has been on fire. He just signed a 2-year deal with Gas to extend his contract with that team, and he finishes another 2nd place this past weekend. And Ken Roczen on the Kickstart Suzuki. Impressive stuff to see him in 3rd place, and all three of those riders a good margin ahead of Cooper Webb and Eli Tomac. So with Cooper edging out Tomac for 4th, Cooper now has a 6-point gap. He gained only 1 point on Eli Tomac, so now heading into the East Rutherford this weekend, the gap is a tiny bit smaller, but Eli Tomac still has the red plate. A couple other notes on the 450 class. We have to give a huge congratulations to Jared Lesher for qualifying for the 450 main event on a YZ250 2-stroke. So impressive. Only him and Jared Stanky are racing 250 2-strokes in Supercross this year. Both riders have been doing most of the rounds, but they haven't done all of the rounds. So Jared is an experienced 2-stroke rider, and he's made main events on 2-strokes before. So I thought that he would be able to get a main event before Jared Lesher, but man, Jared rode awesome at Atlanta. He got the last spot in the LCQ of the 450 class, and he rode his way from behind, passed his way up into 4th place, and was able to take that YZ250 2-stroke into the main event. So if you haven't seen it yet, we have an Inside the Pros Bikes video on his YZ250 that we did a couple weeks ago, where him and his mechanic Michael Shaw go in depth, explain all the details about that bike, and it's really impressive to see just their level and attention to detail on that bike. Everything they've done to it has been done with a purpose. It's impressive how light it is, and it's just impressive to see how close those guys fine-tune the details on that YZ250. So made a main event, super cool for them, super cool for their story, and super cool for all of their sponsors of Jared Lesher and that YZ250. 2 notes about the Atlanta Supercross track that I thought were interesting. First were the sand sections. I thought that was the perfect application of sand in Supercross. Obviously, the Atlanta Motor Speedway, the layout for the track is massive. They have a huge footprint there for building the track, and they were able to build fast rolling turns with sand in them for the Atlanta Speedway. And I think those 2 sand sections made for awesome racing, and it made just for a great display of motocross skill and technique on a Supercross track. Because the riders had a lot of momentum, there wasn't a lot of chaos and a lot of crashes in those sections, and I think it was a really cool display of what the riders can do and just how good they really are. Made for good TV and for good photos. Another aspect about the track was the wall jump going under the bridge. That was interesting, and maybe I overreacted watching the race on TV, but I was waiting for a rider to send it too far and almost hit their head on the bridge. Luckily that didn't happen, and luckily everybody stayed safe. But cool track from Atlanta, made for some great racing. The whoop sections, obviously they were the maker or breakers of the race, and unfortunately it was Nate Thrasher who went down in the first set of whoops. Bummer deal. He was in 4th place with just 4 laps to go in the main event, and he was working on Hayden Deegan for 3rd place in that final spot on the podium. He went down, dislocated his hip, and is going to have surgery on it, and he also broke his collarbone in that crash as well. So heartbreaker for him. He's the only rider to beat Hunter Lawrence so far this season. Now Hunter has a huge points lead in the 250 class, and as the series heads to East Rutherford this weekend. All right, guys, now let's preview the upcoming East Rutherford Supercross this weekend in New Jersey. It is going to be a 250 East-West showdown, and we finally get the brother duo of Hunter Lawrence and Jett Lawrence going head-to-head this weekend as the East and West series join up together. It's going to be an interesting one. Both riders have almost had perfect seasons. Jett Lawrence has won 5 out of the 6 250 250 West Coast races. Hunter Lawrence, he's won 6 out of 7 250 East Coast races. The only races they've lost were Triple Crown races. Nate Thrasher, as I mentioned, he won the Triple Crown on the East Coast, and it was Levi Kitchen, another Star Racing Yamaha rider. He got his first ever win at Anaheim 2 and was able to knock Jett Lawrence off the top spot. So coming into this weekend, only one brother is going to be allowed to win. You can't have two winners in motocross or supercross, and this weekend it is going to be a head-to-head battle. Obviously, you would think that Honda would let them both go out there and let the best man win. Obviously, in the past, Jett Lawrence has shown to be a stronger rider. He's got 2 outdoor national championships. He's got a 250 Supercross championship. But Hunter, he's going to want to prove everybody wrong, and he's going to want to get that top spot over his brother to get those bragging rights. I personally know what it's like to race against your brother, to have a brother on the track. You want the best for them. I know both of these guys want the best for their brothers, and they're each other's biggest fans, but now they're racing against each other. It's such a unique predicament and something that I think is very exciting to watch. Obviously, the story's been told a million times. These brothers are the stars of our sport right now, but it's still a very unique thing. Let's look at it this way though. Jett Lawrence has only a 26-point lead, very impressive, but not as much as Hunter Lawrence. He's got a 45-point lead. This is extra 19 points to play with. Is it smarter to let Jett win so that he has an even bigger gap going into the final 250 West Coast races? Obviously, you can argue that, but I think they're going to let the best man win, and it's going to be interesting to see how it goes this weekend. Adding to the drama of the 250 East-West Showdown is the fact that Hunter Lawrence has the opportunity to clinch the 250 East Coast Championship this weekend. That's right, he has a 45-point lead, as I already mentioned, and Hayden Deegan is in second place in points. This weekend, if Hunter Lawrence gets the win, which he very well could, and Hayden Deegan finishes 4th or worse, then Hunter Lawrence will win the championship. The number 1 plate will be handed out to him. 2 rounds left to go. Now, if Hunter doesn't get the win and Hayden finishes close to him, or if Hayden Deegan finishes 2nd or 3rd, that will push the championship on to the following round at Nashville, where he will still be able to win the championship with 1 round left to go. So that begs the question, should Jett let his brother win so that the championship is out of the picture, over and done with, and it is in the bag for one of the Lawrence brothers? Well, lots of things to look forward to this weekend. The math works out basically that if Hunter wins and Hayden gets 4th, there's 52 points up for grabs after that. That means if Hayden Deegan wins the following 2 rounds, they would end tied on points, Hunter and Hayden. However, Hunter's wins would be the tiebreaker and he would get the championship there. So cool stuff, lots to watch this weekend at East Rutherford. We also have some unique stats that Ben Bridges provided us about the Lawrence brothers that we have to highlight in this video. Both riders riding for Honda HRC factory team. Hunter Lawrence, he's 24 years old. Jett Lawrence, he's 18 years old. Looking at the wins for 2023, I already mentioned those. The average finish of each rider, Jett has an average finish of 1.16, Hunter 1.3. Laps led this year, Jett has led 69 laps, Hunter has led 77. He's also had an extra race. Career wins overall, Jett has won 12 races, Hunter Lawrence has won 11 races in Supercross. Career podiums, they both are tied with 20 podiums in their careers. Jett has 24 top 5 finishes, Hunter has 23 top 5 finishes, and they both have the exact same amount of starts. Jett and Hunter have started 28 Supercross main events total. Very impressive stuff. These guys are almost identical on stats, almost identical on how many times they've been to the races, and we will see the best man win this weekend. Should be interesting. East Rutherford Supercross, it's known for being a soft and loose track. It's an open stadium that usually actually can be pretty dry and dusty sometimes if they get some wind going in there. It's also been wet in the past as well with rain, so it'll be interesting to see how the dirt plays out this weekend. But soft and loose, that's really normally how this track layout forms. Looking at it, you got a long start straight with another sweeping left-hand first turn. You got 3 major rhythm sections, you got a long whoop section, and you have a unique section that's an elevated right-handed 90-degree turn, elevated on the outside to create 2 different rhythms going into that section. So should be interesting to see how it goes this weekend. In the 450 class, Cooper Webb and Eli Tomac are still in an all-out brawl trying to get that 450 championship, and all eyes are going to be on them in that class. But the 250 class, it's kind of been a little less exciting this year with both of the Lawrence brothers pulling away from the pack. Now we finally get them going head to head and are excited to see the result. Next up, we want to take it overseas to the MXGP series, as the World Championship has been a very exciting one. And this past weekend at the MXGP of Trentino over in Italy, an amazing story happened where Liam Everts got his first ever podium. The Red Bull KTM 250 rider went 3-3 for second overall. Now that's a pretty awesome feat for one rider, but it's even cooler when you add up the fact that his dad is Stefan Everts and his grandpa is Harry Everts. Harry Everts, four-time world champion, former factory rider, and obviously father of Stefan Everts. Stefan Everts, the greatest of all time in the MXGP World Championship. He's got 101 race wins and 10 world championships, the winningest rider over there in Europe. And he is actually still tied right now with Jeffrey Hurlings for the most wins in the MXGP series. Jeffrey recently tied him with 101 wins, and pretty interesting stuff. So Liam Everts joins his dad and grandpa with his first ever podium, and it'll only be a matter of time before he gets his first ever win. Also, cool story for Jeffrey Hurlings. He crashed in the first moto, but came back to finish 9th. And then in the second moto, he went beast mode, as he says in his post-race interview, and came all the way through the pack from about 10th off the start to win the race and get third place on the podium. So 9-1 gave him third overall. Jeffrey Hurlings now has 175 points. He is 26 points off Jorge Prado, who is leading the MXGP World Championship right now, with Maxime Renault, the Yamaha 450 rider, in second. We also have a couple recent videos that were just posted on the Motocross Action YouTube channel that you should check out if you haven't seen them already. Our Inside the Pros Bikes series is one of my favorite series that we do on the channel. Travis Fant gets up close and personal with the bikes and the mechanics that make these race bikes so cool. This time he got to talk to Austin Forkner's mechanic, Tony Archer, who's now wrenching for Carson Mumford, fill-in rider for Austin Forkner on the Pro Circuit Kawasaki KX250. Very interesting stuff. Check out that video to learn the ins and outs of Carson Mumford's bike and what Tony Archer and the team did to tailor it specifically for Carson. We also just posted our Gas MC450F Factory Edition video. We got to test that bike out in the hills, had some fun riding on it, and I did my best to dig into the details about that bike and figure out what's different about the Gas platform when compared to KTM and Husqvarna for 2023. That bike is all new, and there are a few unique differences that set it apart from the orange and white bikes. Check out those videos on our channel and our website. All right, guys, that's it for this week at MXA, episode number 121. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.